Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Module 4 of the Postmodern Esotericism course. In this module, we're going to take a little bit different approach from what many of you are used to. I'm going to revert back to my days teaching college classes, and this will be more of a traditional discussion slash lecture on the topic. And our topic tonight is focused on how the mind creates our reality, which in and of itself is the essence of magic, and how focusing on mastering your mind, becoming more mindful, using techniques to focus your words and your mind toward creating that magic that you're setting out to create. So in order to begin, let's start by asking ourselves, what is reality? Is it the world that exists outside of us, or is reality the world that exists within our minds? See, the truth is our minds play a far greater role in creating our reality than we realize. See, our perceptions, for example, are selective. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as our brains interpret it. So our brain filters out most of the information that our senses are taking in, and it focuses on what it believes are the most important or the most relevant details. And so that means that each of us has a unique perspective of the world, a unique perspective of things as they unfold based on our own individual experiences and biases. We talked about this in previous classes, how we often perceive the world through the lens of our fears or the lens of our past experiences, the lens of our biases. Now, our expectations also play a role. So our brains are constantly making predictions about where we're going to be and what's going to happen next. The brain creates this set of expectations, and the more that our brain is right, the more that our expectations are met, we're more likely to perceive the world accurately. However, the opposite is also true. When our experiences are that our expectations were not met, then we might misinterpret what we're seeing and hearing because of our perceived biases. Now, our beliefs tell us what we think about ourselves, what we think about others, what we think about the world around us and circumstances and situations, and they shape our experiences in profound ways. If we believe we're capable, we're worthy, we are skillful, then we're likely to succeed. If we believe we're not good enough, then we're just as likely to fail. The placebo effect is a powerful example of how our minds can create reality. See, the placebo effect is not, as it's often misunderstood, tricking yourself. It's actually reshaping your reality based on taking an inactive substance and in a clinical setting and believing that you're taking the real substance, and then your body triggering a series of responses that heals you or gives you the same effect as the real substance. So even when patients know that they're taking a placebo, they experience physical and emotional changes because they're simply part of the study, because they realize that they might at some point be given the real medication. And this becomes evident in the outcomes that we see in clinical trials. So many times placebo effects work. There would be no network marketing industry or the very popular wellness industry with vitamins and nutritionals and nutraceuticals were it not in part for the placebo effect, because making our minds, convincing our minds that that something is going to benefit us shapes our reality. It changes our behaviors. And so a good example I give to people is that in the 80s, when I was putting myself through school, I was part of a health and nutrition company that was the first company to bring herbal nutrition, Chinese herbs, Asian herbs, to the United States. And so many of those herbs we now know through science are really beneficial. But there were other things that were, meal replacement shakes that did little more than just temporarily make you feel full. But because you believed that everybody who took this meal replacement shake was losing weight, because you wore a button that said, lose weight now, ask me how, and you were out there trying to sell this product to the world, you modified your diet. You were more careful about what you eat and how you act. You became more active. And so all of those things, not just the meal replacement shake, were contributing to your weight loss. And of course, like I said, a lot of the herbs that we brought, things like Shizandra and raw guarana and things of that nature, were proven by science in the years that followed to be beneficial. But we've all seen the commercial for the fruits and vegetable caps, and those fruit and vegetable caps are nothing more than dehydrated fruits and vegetables. Why would you spend $50 a month for a couple capsules that are going to provide you only a fraction of what you would get by eating a healthy diet? But people do it because they want the easy way. It's the same reason that people will turn to a pre-written spell rather than tapping in to the magic that exists within them, rather than tapping into their own ability. So how can we use our minds to create more positive and fulfilling outcomes in our magical practice? Well, here are a few of the ideas that I've written down. One, we want to become more mindful of our thoughts and beliefs. Pay attention to the stories that you tell yourself and about the world around you. Pay attention to the stories about relationships. What are you telling yourself, about the person that you'd like to be in a relationship, about how relationships generally go for you? Are these stories helpful or are they harmful? If they're harmful, change them and replace them with more powerful, more positive, and empowering beliefs. There are many techniques you can use. So what I would want to say at this point is that so many times we'll do a spell for a positive outcome in a relationship, but we don't do the pre-work of working on our belief system before we do that spell. So most of the time, that spell is going to fall flat. Most of the time, it won't bring us the outcome we want. Sometimes we might even feel like we're getting a response to our spell to bring some love into our lives and find the right guy or the right girl or the right person. But then a couple weeks in, things go south. And they go south because of our belief, because our expectation on our subconscious level is that these things never work out. This is a fluke. And so there's science behind this. The prefrontal cortex of your brain takes in everything all the stories that are playing through your mind, everything you hear, everything you say. And it doesn't understand the negative. It doesn't understand, let's say, not happy. All it hears is happy. And so it creates happiness. It doesn't understand that you're lacking joy in your life. It picks up on the lacking in your life. So what we want to do is we want to focus on our strengths and our accomplishments, because the prefrontal cortex takes this information in, takes this data in, just like a computer, and then begins to assemble the causes and condition the energetic experience of those things we're trying to manifest. And we are trying to manifest it whether we know it or not. So when we say that, oh, I'm fat, then the prefrontal cortex takes in that you're fat, even if you're not, and it begins to create the things, the energy, the systems in your body, your metabolism slows down, you start eating more, you become more sluggish, and before you know it, you're fat. But when you say, my body shed excess weight easily, I'm at my ideal weight, you can use the one command, as we talked about in the earlier courses, and say, I don't know how I reach my ideal weight and have more energy and more vitality. All I know is I do now, and I am grateful. And that sets in motion the first part of the energetic twist. So when you're looking for that great relationship, you say, I don't know how I let go of all of the beliefs that have sabotaged previous relationships. All I know is I now attract fulfilling, happy, faithful, beautiful people into my world, and I am complete. I am fulfilled. So we focus on our strengths and accomplishments, and if necessary, make a list of the things you're good at and the things that you've achieved, and read that list often, because one day you'll be able to add to that esoteric uh, qualities, esoteric strengths and accomplishments. So you got to do the work before the work, and then set realistic goals. Take action toward achieving them. We don't just light the candle and say we're going to attract the right person into our lives and then stay home locked in our room, because guess what? That isn't going to work. You put yourself out there. You put yourself in situations where you're meeting people. You don't go out with a feeling of despair, of desperation, wanting to meet somebody. You go out there mindful of your strengths and your accomplishments, and you energetically draw to you those things. So the same thing as if you're doing a magic working to create a job. You don't just do the magic working and do nothing. That's new age nonsense. You know, things like The Secret. Oh, you just say something 7 times a day and there's going to be a bicycle on your back porch. No, that's not how it works. That's not how magic works. And then surround yourself with supportive environments. That means supportive people. That means if you don't have support in your family, you don't have support at work or in your social groups, then that's why we tap into groups like the Inner Alchemy Mystery School, so that we can surround ourselves with people who will support us. My goal for the Inner Alchemy Mystery School was for us to form real community, and I believe that we have. But I think that something unfortunate took place amidst the great fortune of the pandemic winding down, and that is that we, suddenly had to go back to work. We suddenly became busy, and in that busyness, we forgot to carve out time for community. And so many people are watching this on replays. Many people take the courses on replay. We're live because doing a class live with the same 1 or 2 or 3 people doesn't have the impact. It doesn't give even those 3 people enough of an opportunity to hear varying perspectives. And that is one of the most important things. So that's why I ask you that when you take the class, that you respond in the chat section, that's like a timeline inside the course. Just say, module 4, I was thinking about this stuff and I realized that, yeah, my thoughts and beliefs do sabotage relationships, and that it doesn't make sense if I'm doing that to be lighting candles to draw someone into my life romantically, until I work on me first. And your mind is a powerful tool. It can be used to create the reality that you desire. That's what magic is: being mindful of your thoughts and beliefs, focusing on your strengths, setting realistic goals, and surrounding yourself with a support system, are the steps that you should take before the spell itself. Be mindful of the times that you find yourself angry. What do you say to yourself at those times? I've said before that it's so important in this course to keep a journal, because at the end of the day, you should spend a few minutes and just say, that was really, messed up what happened at work today. And what did I tell myself about what happened? Did you blame yourself? Did you just get angry and nasty and then afterwards feel, I could have handled that better? By making note of those things, we have the opportunity to do better and to be better. So this week, what I want you to do is I want you to pay attention to the things that you're telling yourself. What are you saying on a daily basis? I'm going to include in the materials for this week's module a copy of one of my older books. And you can read that book put it to work, see how it begins to transform everything in your life. And it's based on the Hawaiian principle of forgiveness. And you might think, well, what does that have to do with magic? Well, it has everything to do with magic. Because the more that we forgive for ourselves, not for anyone else. And the more that we forgive, the less burdened we are. Because when we don't forgive something, it's because there's a belief that says that whatever happened to us is unfair and took away our power. So when somebody argues with you, or they steal from you, or they attack you, that anger, that hostility is a poison. And Buddha said that when those things happen, when anger arises, it's like drinking poison and hoping that the other person dies. So I want you to be mindful. What are the things that you say on a daily basis? Take a note of them. And then I want you to write a single sentence, a spell that recognizes, use the formula for the spells, that recognizes that you are one with the source of your energy, and that energy manifests in you, through you, and all around you, and is an eternal energy, just as you and I, at our true nature, are eternal energy. And so grace and ease and health and love and abundance are flowing to us and through us and all around us. And when you're in that mindset, you can then make a positive statement that use the formula for the one command. Say, I don't know how I developed the skills to be better in times of confrontation. All I know is I do now and I'm fulfilled. I do now and I'm grateful. Make that one statement and write it down each day for the next week. And then at the end of the week, I'm going to challenge you to go back and spend 30 minutes, light a candle, burn some incense, whatever it is that helps you feel really calm and grounded. And I want you to just read those last statements, those positive statements, and read them aloud. Say them out loud. Allow your prefrontal cortex to absorb these truths about who and what you really are. So I hope this has been really helpful for y'all. It seems like it might be a really simple assignment until you dive in. And so this, I'm going to put this up early, even though the next class is not due for another week. I'm putting it up early so that you have time to read the book that I attach, so that it's called The Magic of Forgiveness. I think it's something that will help enhance your practice in ways that you probably couldn't have imagined before you pick up the book and read. So we'll see you guys on the next module. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the support, and we'll talk to you soon.